I think they feel good about Stidham. I mean, look, when Stidham came out of Auburn, I thought he was in many ways one of your Texas 7-on-7 quarterbacks, because that's where he's from, Texas. They all look the same throwing the ball. Stidham has a good arm. Even though he's not 6'5", he looks tall in the pocket. I think he's about 6'3", give or take, maybe a little less. But he looks good throwing it, good arm. He's relatively poised. All we have to go on is preseason from a year ago. We're not at practice every day. He looked very good in the preseason. I think when you look at their roster, I think you're going to see them almost be an old school kind of team, John. They're going to rely on defense. They're going to run the ball. They lost Devlin, but they signed Vitale. And even though he's not a fantasy guy, I think that's an important signing because I think they want a fullback to run the ball. That's where they had their most success in their final Super Bowl year 2 years ago with Sony Michel down the stretch and Devlin being a critical piece. I think Vitale fills that role. They have a very good stable of backs. That's probably a strength of their offense.
The job's open. I mean, it's wide open. But Josh McDaniels really likes Stidham. Just talking to people know what happened with that pick. Like Josh's thoughts on quarterbacks are integral in what they do on offense, and also bringing Brian Hoyer in, who knows this offense. By the way, it's his third time now with the Patriots. So it's between those two guys. And Lewerke, the Michigan State kid, has got some ability. He was playing one of the All-Star games. But I really do believe it's going to go down to both of them. I think, John, it's simply going to be in training camp. Who's the best? And then we'll see in preseason. We have no idea if we're going to have any preseason games or when training camp's going to start. But I think it's between those two guys. My money would be on Hoyer because of his experience in the offense. But Stidham's kind of intriguing. I look forward to seeing this competition.
So they drafted two really intriguing tight ends, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
And one was Devin Asiasi from UCLA, and the other was Dalton Keene. Keene almost strikes me as kind of an H-back type, whereas Asiasi, I think he's pretty talented. Rookies, you never know in the NFL, particularly with no offseason. But Asiasi is I like Asiasi as far as a receiver far more than I like Cole Kmet. So I think he's a really intriguing guy for this New England offense.
Yeah, that was the word of the combine, that he was like a sleeper. A lot of the scouts like Asiasi, and I interviewed him in person. Really nice kid. He's a team first guy all the way. Like, he had a huge game in the rivalry game against USC, and that meant a lot to him. And he takes a lot of pride in his blocking, by the way, which when they took him as the second tight end off the board, I wasn't surprised at all at him. And I think he'll absolutely get a shot here along with Keene.
Yeah, so this is what you do in especially dynasty drafts is, a guy with high draft capital, round one draft capital, who disappoints in his rookie season, ADP plummets, you draft him and then you profit. It's just really hard to play as a rookie. Look at aging curves. Typically rookie wide receivers produce at like 70% of their baseline average, sophomore season 90%. And then these start to pick up, 120% year 3, the peak in year 4, year 5. So that's a great way to profit. Unfortunately, the situation definitely looks ugly. His ADP is low for a reason. He was not a guy I was high on. I think a question we have to ask, I should say the last time Tom Brady missed, 15 games, what was it, 10, 12 years ago?
08.
Yeah. New England supported 2 1,000-yard wide receivers. Of course, that was Wes Welker and Randy Moss. But at the same time, like, could we see Julian Edelman and produce wide receiver 2 numbers, and Harry produce wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4?
There were some people that kind of suggested that Harris, coming out of Alabama, was more talented than Josh Jacobs, and I don't know where those people got those and found those opinions, but Josh Jacobs and Damien Harris were on 2 different talent conversations in terms of yards created. And I think their rookie seasons kind of panned out to show that. Harris got 4 touches total last year, played 5 snaps in a year where Sony Michel was like basically just grinding into dust. In theory, Michel is their number 1 back. He's going to be their early down runner. I'm still pretty low on Damien Harris's talent. I know Sony Michel has been able to really be the back we expect him to be coming out of college, but Michel is really cheap in best ball. He's going in 8th, 9th round in redraft leagues. Like, I really won't have much interest in him, just probably because there's not much upside on this offense. But in best ball leagues where you don't have to set a weekly lineup and you don't have to really worry about when Sony Michel blow up weeks are going to come, I think he's a really like pretty valuable RB3, RB4 in that format.